What is public knowledge is that he got arrested.
It's a DUI this time, but it could have been worse.
I'm hanging out with some convicts.
Maurice was arrested and got out for the DUI. He was on social media with a bottle of liquor in his hand.
Again? I want to know sincerely how you're feeling in those moments. I can't help what I don't know.
I don't really know if you can help me.
After spending many years living in Maurice's shadow, Kimmi has finally stepped into the spotlight on her own. For a long time, she was seen mostly as part of a couple, not as an individual with her own story. Because of that, what happened next surprised almost everyone who was following their lives. Few people expected her to become the main focus of such a serious and public situation. The courtroom was not just a place for legal arguments. It became the stage where Kimmi made a strong and confident return. This was not a simple disagreement between two people. It turned into a full legal fight that changed how people viewed both her and Maurice. The main question everyone began asking was simple. How did she
All of that foolishness that you felt like was no big deal at one particular time has blossomed into a whole forest of big deal. Because my husband has all over the internet about having sex with his wife with cancer.
reach this point, and what exactly did she gain from it? Over time, it became clear that Kimmi was not suddenly reacting to problems. She had been preparing in silence for a long time. Earlier this year, she officially filed for a legal separation from Maurice. That step alone showed that things between them had already broken down. But the situation became much more serious when she accused him of hiding money and assets. According to what was presented in court, Maurice was believed to have moved money into secret accounts. There were also claims that he transferred property into the names of relatives, so that it would not be counted as shared marital assets. These actions, if proven true, would mean that valuable property and money were being kept out of Kimmi's reach on purpose. However, Kimmi did not walk into the situation unprepared. She came forward with detailed records and financial evidence that supported her claims. She had documented.
Kimmi is doing as admirable as a spouse. To roll over and suffer through it, I look at it as her standing by me while I'm standing by her. There's a difference between wants and needs. I'm a person who actually needs sex, not a person who wants sex.
Why do you need sex?
I need sex like Carlos needs mess.
Receipts and information that showed patterns of suspicious financial activity. Instead of relying only on words, she focused on proof. In court, she did not only ask for her basic share of what she believed she was owed. She also demanded compensation for years of work she contributed to Maurice's businesses. She argued that she had helped build parts of his success, often without receiving proper payment or recognition for her effort. After reviewing the evidence from both sides, the judge made a decision in Kimmi's favor on several key points. As a result, she was awarded a significant financial settlement. She also received a share of ownership in one of Maurice's major business ventures. This outcome marked a major shift in their financial relationship and changed the balance of power between them. Beyond the money and property, this case also raised questions about their public image. Both Kimmi and Maurice were known for appearing on a reality show.
It was hella disrespectful, and it doesn't protect me. And now I have to answer questions from my mother?
Yeah, I didn't think about the collateral damage. To me, it was like, if I just apologize to my wife.
So now you gotta apologize to my mother.
That follows their personal and professional lives. Because of that, many viewers started to wonder how this legal outcome would affect what they see on screen. Before all of this happened, they were often viewed as a strong couple. They worked together in business and presented themselves as partners who supported each other. On the surface, they appeared united, focused, and successful. Many fans admired the idea that they were able to balance marriage and business at the same time. However, what people saw on television did not show the full picture. Behind closed doors, things were becoming more complicated. Maurice began making financial decisions without involving Kimmi. He invested in new projects, moved money between accounts, and signed agreements that she was not aware of. At first, Kimmi tried not to think too much of it. She told herself that he was just handling business matters and dealing with stress. She believed that he might simply be trying to protect her from pressure or unnecessary details. For a while, she chose to trust that everything was still under control. But over time, small signs began to worry her. Conversations between them became less open. They no longer communicated the same way they used to. Instead of sharing ideas, their talks felt more formal and distant. Even simple discussions about business often ended quickly, without real agreement or connection. Eventually, Kimmi started noticing things that did not add up. While reviewing financial records, she saw bank transactions that she did not recognize. Large sums of money were moving in and out of accounts she had never been given access to. On top of that, she discovered documents that carried her signature, even though she did not remember signing them. When she raised these concerns with Maurice, he brushed them off. He told her there was nothing to worry about and that everything was just part of managing their growing business empire. He tried to reassure her that things were normal and under control. Still, instead of feeling calm, Kimmi felt more uncertain. The explanations did not fully make sense to her, and her doubts continued to grow. She began to feel that something deeper was going on behind the scenes. Wanting clear answers, Kimmi made a serious decision. She hired a private forensic accountant to carefully review their finances. This was not an easy choice for her, but she felt she needed professional help to uncover the truth. What the investigation uncovered changed everything. The accountant found signs of irregular financial activity, including documents with signatures that appeared to be forged. Some properties that should have been jointly owned were instead registered under Maurice's control alone. Even more concerning, certain assets had been moved into trusts connected to his relatives without Kimmi's knowledge or approval. As more details came out, the situation looked less like confusion and more like intentional planning. At that point, Kimmi understood that this was not just a misunderstanding or simple mistake in paperwork. It felt like a betrayal that affected both her personal life and financial future. She realized she could not stay silent or ignore what she had discovered. After months of dealing with emotional stress and growing uncertainty, she decided it was time to take action. She reached out to a trusted lawyer and began preparing for a full legal response. This marked the beginning of her fight to protect her rights and secure what she believed was fairly hers. Documentation, bank statements, signed agreements, contracts, and every piece of evidence that suggested Maurice had tried to hide financial activity were carefully gathered and organized. Nothing was left out. Each document added another layer to the picture Kimmi was slowly uncovering. While Maurice stayed focused on his daily life, Kimmi worked quietly in the background. She didn't announce what she was doing or show any signs of conflict. Instead, she moved carefully, collecting information step by step and connecting details that didn't seem important at first, but later proved to be crucial. She also reached out to the right professionals and took legal steps to protect herself. Every file she collected was stored safely and reviewed with care. As she prepared for the moment she would need to present everything, she was not rushing, but she was also not stopping. Her goal was simple: make sure the truth could be proven when the time came. Eventually, Kimmi handed over all the evidence she had collected. That moment became a turning point. The materials she provided included signs of forged signatures, unauthorized transactions, and financial activity that could not be explained away. Everything pointed back to Maurice and raised serious questions about his actions. At this stage, Kimmi was no longer just reacting or defending herself. She had shifted into a stronger position, building a solid legal case that could not be ignored. The situation was no longer about suspicion alone. It was now about proof, carefully documented and ready to be examined in court. The woman who once tried to stay calm and avoid conflict was no longer willing to stay silent. She had seen enough, and she was determined to face it directly. This was no longer just about marriage or misunderstanding. It was about truth, accountability, and protecting her future. With every document she submitted, Kimmi was doing more than defending her rights. She was shaping a case that had the power to completely change Maurice's life as well. What she was building was not emotional, it was factual, structured, and legally strong. When the legal process finally began, Maurice was caught off guard. One day, everything seemed normal in his world. The next, he was served with legal papers and pulled into a lawsuit he never expected. The situation escalated quickly, leaving little time for preparation or control. The court case moved fast and became intense. The accusations included fraud, forgery, and the misuse of Kimmi's identity in financial matters. As the details came out, the image Maurice had carefully built started to break down piece by piece. His defense tried to challenge the claims, but it was not strong enough to match the amount of evidence presented. The records, documents, and financial trails created a clear pattern that was difficult to deny. Each new piece of proof made the situation harder for him to explain. Inside the courtroom, Kimmi remained calm and focused. She was no longer standing in the background of someone else's story. She had become a central figure in the case, someone whose voice carried real weight and meaning. When she finally took the stand, the room became completely quiet. Everyone listened carefully as she spoke. Her words were clear, direct, and based on what she had personally experienced. She did not exaggerate or soften the truth. Her testimony was not just about betrayal. It was about realizing what had been happening, understanding it, and deciding not to ignore it anymore. It showed how she had moved from confusion to awareness, and then to action. The impact was immediate. Maurice's legal team struggled to respond to her statements. What she said matched the evidence too closely, making it difficult to dismiss or weaken her claims. The confidence he once showed began to fade under pressure. In that moment, Kimmi was not just a spouse involved in a dispute. She was someone who had taken back control of her story. Her presence in the courtroom showed strength, focus, and determination. After her testimony, the direction of the case shifted. The court ruled in her favor on major points, granting her financial compensation and clearing her name from any involvement in questionable financial activity linked to Maurice. She was also protected from debts that had been connected to him without her agreement. This was an important part of the ruling, as it separated her financially from responsibilities she had never accepted. Maurice, however, was left in a far more difficult position. The outcome opened the possibility of serious consequences, including large financial penalties and potential legal punishment, depending on further proceedings. Outside the courtroom, reactions came quickly. Many people supported Kimmi, praising her courage and patience throughout the process. Some said she handled everything with calm strength, even when the situation became overwhelming. Others expressed surprise at how the situation unfolded, especially those who had followed their story for a long time. It became a major topic of discussion among viewers, who began rethinking everything they thought they knew about the couple. Even people connected to their professional circle and show began to feel the impact. The dynamics between cast members were expected to shift, as this case changed how people viewed both Kimmi and Maurice moving forward. Still, even after the victory, questions remained. What would Kimmi do next with her life? Would she continue her business path or focus on rebuilding personally and emotionally? And what would happen to Maurice after such a major setback? For Kimmi, the future now looked more open than it had in years. She was no longer operating under confusion or fear. Instead, she had clarity, options, and the ability to make decisions on her own terms. For Maurice, the path ahead was less certain. Appeals might be possible, and public statements could be made, but reversing the damage would be difficult. His reputation, finances, and relationships all faced serious challenges. The situation also changed how people viewed their story on television. Fans started paying closer attention to the relationships and decisions shown on screen, knowing there was a deeper reality behind what they saw. Kimmi did not just survive the situation she faced. She used it to regain control of her life and reshape her future. Now, attention has shifted to what she will do next and how this new chapter will unfold.